long enough, you can love me.
Hey girls, so today I've got Sam Murphy here and she is going to come and talk to us about how to eat healthily, how to look after your body, as well as being beautiful on the outside. You also need to keep your insides beautiful as well, because that's going to shine through. So Sam is, she's got Beautifully Raw blog post. She's health and wellness advocate and also a fitness model in the past.
Ex-fitness model, I would say. I model fitness, but yeah.
Yeah. And she's also overcome eating disorders as well, which is a how do you say?
Metabolic damage.
So
I've had metabolic damage.
So what does that sort of...
So metabolic damage is essentially the damage to your metabolism. So your metabolism is, think of it as a furnace. It's what keeps your body running, it keeps where your energy comes from, and it also is what promotes fat burning. It's the rate at which your body burns fat. And so if you've damaged that, this can lead to weight gain, extreme lethargy, so being really tired, mood swings, damage to your hormones, so your thyroid gland in your throat, which is in charge of your estrogen, a whole circumference of problems that just spiral out of control and you feel very crap. And a lot of girls go through this. It's typical to go through it past dieting. So if you have been in a calorie deficit for quite a while, so calorie deficit is not having enough calories.
So is that how you damage your metabolism?
Yep, so that's how you would damage your metabolism, by not eating enough, basically. And it's it's really easy to do. It's actually quite hard to eat the right amount for your body, because everybody is different. And that's what we're going to kind of go in today, is how do you find that happy spot with your body, with eating, with food, with exercise, how does it not become an obsession? How is it enough to get to where you want to get to? It's a real fine line, and but it is possible to balance it out. And
so how would you know if you've got an unhealthy relationship with food?
A combination of things. I'll kind of go like more my personal story with that one, is you got to be really honest with yourself. Yeah. Deep down we know when something's not quite right with food. You feel anxious, you become irritable, really easy irritable, angry, isolated. So you I feel if you've got an unhealthy relationship with food, you emotionally cling to food as if it's a very dear friend of yours. Yeah. And you don't want to let it go, and you don't want to let anything get in the way of it, because it's a control mechanism. And having too much control over food means you try to control other areas of your life, and it just leads to being very unhappy and very stressed out, and that leads to weight gain itself, and confusion and depression, anxiety, a whole host of problems. So if you want to know how you have an unhealthy relationship with food, look at how you deal with situations that are out of your control. So say going out for dinner, eating something that might not be on your plan, or if you're binging, you'll know if you're binging because you can feel it coming on, and it's quite a dominant sign. If you think you're consciously restricting, so you think in your head, I can't eat that because that's going to make me fat. That's a really unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, I think I have that.
A lot of girls do. Some days, I don't think you'll ever get rid of the thoughts like that, but you can change how you react to them. You can change what you do with those thoughts.
So when was your aha moment, like you knew something was wrong, and did you think that your mindset had a lot to do with?
Most definitely. I don't know, I was always really attached to my past, with all my past struggles. So, obviously having had an eating disorder, and I couldn't go a day without thinking about food. I was always thinking about food. Food would be my dominant life force. I've always been really passionate about food with my cooking, but it was turning into a really negative experience.
Yeah, because you've made cookbooks as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done ebooks and cookbooks, but you get to a point when it all became a little bit unhealthy. Yeah. And I could sense it was because I wasn't happy. I was always really irritated, and I couldn't go out for a meal with my boyfriend because I was stressing out that things wouldn't be according to my plan, or that I couldn't have the sufficient amount I wanted to binge with. So I couldn't go out to a public place and have a binge because I couldn't physically move afterwards. I wanted comfort in my own home when I could just sit there and, eat as much food as I could.
Yeah.
And that was the moment when I was like, no, I don't want to be, 30 or 40 and raise a child and have this issue. But stuff that I want to get this knocked on the head right here and right now.
Yeah.
And it was scary because it was almost like I was going to have to break up with my boyfriend. Like it felt like a boyfriend, not like in a literal sense, but in like food was my savior. It was my savior. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was a warm fuzzy blanket, and I had to go out in the cold. It was going to be scary.
So what was your first step that you kind of did to?
I went vegan. And people knock veganism on the head, but I look at it as from one ethical point of view, as I'm doing something for the planet.
Yeah. And
doing that really changed how I thought about food. Food is fuel, and it should be something that's respected and not self-sabotaging. And what I was putting into my body, I wanted it to be pure. I wanted it to be real. I wanted it to actually work for my body and not against it.
Yeah.
You're putting things like artificial sugars in your body, and it's just, that's, like, I look at food labels now and you always see as numbers and weird things you can't pronounce, and like, would you put that in your body? You don't know what it is exactly. That's, so I'm one of those weird people that go to the supermarkets and look behind things now, but I've put a value on my body. Like, you've got to start valuing your body enough to have it, to give a shit. Give a shit about your body, Like, you deserve to feel the way I feel now. Like, it's honestly from eating enough.
Yeah.
I lived in sub 1,000 calorie diets, completely dieting my whole life because I was too scared to eat more because I would gain weight.
Yeah.
And that fear is so real for a lot of girls. And it's a real scary and crippling thing that it holds on to you because you don't want to feel fat. No one likes feeling like that. No one likes feeling they're not, worth anything, or they're not able to wear certain things because they're not a certain size, and there's so many pressures from society that come flooding in, and that's been conditioned into us since we were little girls.
So what you're saying, like before, you said about you're actually eating more carbs, and a lot of people think that if you eat less carbs, obviously you lose all that weight, but it's not good for you.
There's like one thing I want, like, there's no set way of eating that is the magical be all and end all that's going to answer all your problems. There's some things that are better than others, but I don't think you can get past eating real food. That would be my number one rule, is eat real food. Don't eat anything that isn't a packet, apart from like, rice and whole grain pastas and stuff like that. That's fine, but something that's like
fresh fruit, veggies.
Yeah, you can't get past that, man. You honestly cannot get better than something from the planet. That's my number one rule to people. But I follow it's called Rule Till 4. So I eat raw fruits and veggies until 4 p.m. and people think that's ridiculous, but it is your cells in your body, they run off glucose. There's trillions of them. And if you're not having carbs, you're not feeding those cells, so your body's not repairing, hence you get breakouts in your skin, weight gain, bad digestive issues. Bad digestive issues, and a whole host of problems that come with being undercarbed. Being undercarbed also means you can't think rationally, you can't make rational decisions, and you don't have the mental strength to follow through with things. And a lot of people think they're just weak, or they're weak people, or they're not strong enough. I said, no, you're just not having enough carbs. So I follow the likes of, if you YouTube Freely the Banana Girl, people think she's an absolute douche or she's too over the top, but if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been Moran today. And I've adopted a few things.
We'll put her link in the description.
I've adopted a few things that she does. It's been about a year on this lifestyle of eating plants. So lots of fruit, so lots of bananas, grapes, melons, friggin' every fruit.
Have you noticed a difference with your skin?
Yep, no breakouts. I have like a natural, obviously I go in the sun and I've used like Eco Tan, but natural like glow to my skin. My eyes have cleared up. My digestive system is really efficient. So overall, I really do think a lot of girls are just undercarbed. A lot of issues are just from not having enough of the right proteins, so complete proteins.
So what would a protein be?
So proteins, good source of protein are obviously, if you are a meat eater like chicken and fish, limited amounts of red meats, eggs, they're all full of protein. So lean proteins, you want something that's low in fat. And if you're a plant eater like myself, like quinoa, which is a grain, beans, brown rice, Lots of root veggies. Fun fact of the day is a large potato has 8 grams of protein in it. So I have lots of potatoes for dinner. Like I cut up all my potatoes into chip shapes and bake them on parchment paper or greaseproof paper in the oven and make oil-free chips. So they're really low in fat and really good for you. And your body will just learn, once you train it and give it the right food, it'll learn how to digest it and use it as fuel. Yeah, so initially, like once you start eating more, a lot of girls experience weight gain. I did. As soon as I started eating more, I put on a few pounds, and that mentally really was hard because it was disheartening, but I knew that I had to trust this process and trust I was giving my body what it needed. It also taught me a big lesson, is that I'm a lot more than what my weight was.
What do you mean by that?
As a person, as a soul, as a human being,
gotcha.
I'm a lot more than my weight. My weight didn't define me, and that was probably the big lesson that I think, honestly, every female needs to learn. That even if you put on a few pounds, it doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't make you less worthy. It taught me some really valuable lessons, and as uncomfortable as it was and as gross as I felt, and the tears and the frustration and acting like a douche around my family and my partner as they thought I was overweight, but you learn to accept yourself for who you really are. And I think that has come down to just eating proper food.
So have you lost weight overall from...
Yeah, I tend not to step on scales just because I don't know how I deal with looking at a number quite yet. But I thought, nah, stuff it, I'll weigh myself. I weighed myself last week and I've gone from 78 to I started at 76, I think. So I started this lifestyle at 76 kg and now I am 69. Woohoo! And that's all just from exercising 4 times a week for 30 to 40 minutes at a time, whether that be running, skipping, going to the gym. I go for walks up hills, up steps. Generally I like to go outdoors because it's summer here in New Zealand.
Yeah,
and it's nice weather and it's nice for the mind.
Yeah.
I might go to the gym and do some weights. I just do whatever I feel like on the day. Yeah, I haven't actually been in quite a while.
Hot yoga's amazing. If you haven't tried it, you need to try it.
Good to detox the body.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I've been doing a lot of, so I exercise 4 to 5 times a week, depending how I feel. If I miss a day, I don't beat myself up. I just think, I'll just do it again tomorrow.
I think that's so important. It's just if you have a bad day, it's just a bad day. Don't make yourself feel any worse for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, overall, everything that we've talked about, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
You're going to sit here and analyse your whole life, all your issues, and think, why do I feel like this? Sometimes we're not meant to know all the answers to everything. Sometimes we just have to let it be and
accept it.
Focus on where you're going. What do you want to achieve? How do you want to feel? Yeah, how do you want to look? You want to look healthy. That's what I think we should strive for, not to look a certain way. But how do you want to feel? Like, do you want to feel energised, light, refreshed, nourished, full, not binging, satisfied?
I do.
She does. So we're going to be, like, obviously doing a lot of series of this and explaining how you're going to get there. Because there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. If we sit here and yarn about this for days. But I think everyone should sit down and write a list of all the things they're not happy with in their life. Whether it be about the way you look, about the way you feel. Could be a whole host of things. It might not just be about your food, it might be about your job or your family life or your situation at home, something like that. Write down all the things you're not happy about
and then figure out how we're going to change them.
Because it's possible. Like, you don't, definitely. I think we all fall victim to life and we feel we have to suffer on this earth, and we don't. We're here to really pursue happiness and pursue peace. And I think, and that honestly comes down to what we put in this body. How can we get this functioning as best as it can? And then you can make decisions based on that. Because if you're filling your body with crap, you're going to have crap thoughts. Which is going to lead to crap results. And you're in a cycle that's just not nice. So you got to start at the source, and this is the source, is what goes in here. Definitely. And, I think that's very important.
Awesome. So we're going to do another video on how to meal prep, because that's one thing that I struggle with. I'm really bad at eating.
Planning to fail means failing to plan means you plan to fail.
So that's me. So that's why I've got Sam in here, for her to teach me, and also now we can teach you girls as well. So hopefully that we can give you girls some good advice. Cool. So that kind of wraps up the first video. So pretty much you need to figure out where you are so we can figure out how to get
you out of there.
yeah.
No, how to help you progress forward and achieve the things you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Without making it an expensive process or a stressful process.
Yeah. Just be completely honest with yourself. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And don't beat yourself up, because we all go through shit.
Yeah.
And we have all have a lot of issues, and I guarantee if we all put our problems in one pile, you'd take yours back out. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably not as worse as, it's probably not as bad as you think it is. So.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Thanks girls so much for watching, and if you can, please share this video and make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Bye! Yeah, bloopers.
Yeah. So,
you're being.
hey girls, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be looking after your insides, not quite.
I'm going to be looking after your internal organs. I'm going to look after your esophagus. Okay, no, carry on.